Test 24, clear direct Trisha.
Direct Trisha on the test
5088, previous arrival, just landed, reported 10 knot gain on final.
Greensboro approach, citation 638 Bravo Golf 5000. We have the AWAS just left.
Stage 638 Bravo Golf, Greensboro approach, altimeter 3016, roger. When you have the weather, let me know what approach request you want.
We have the AWAS there, and we'd like the ILS at 06.
Number 638 Bravo Golf, roger. Expect back to final. Send to maintain 3000.
Now the 3000, Bravo Golf.
Actually, amend up to maintain 3300.
Okay, 3,300, Bravo Golf.
Test 24, contact Atlanta Center 128.8.
28.8 on the test 24.
For 4384 to center maintain 7000. Code 4384 to center maintain 7000.
Center maintain 7,000, code 4384.
For 5088, turn left heading 140.
Left turn 140, Endeavor 5088.
For 638 Bravo Golf, turn right heading 170, record final.
170, Bravo Golf.
This parking is too small for your aircraft.
$58.5 miles from the final approach fix, turn left heading 080, maintain 3000 till 7 on the localizer, cleared ILS, runway 5, left approach.
Left turn 080, 3000 till established for clear the ILS 5, left, Endeavor 5088.
Juliet Greensboro departure ident, climb maintain 4000. 4384, turn right heading 220, send to maintain 3000.
Turn 220, descend maintain 3,000 or 4,000? 016, we have kilo, and we'd like to go to Q5 and do one lap and hold.
Golf, turn right heading 180. Juliet, roger, clear direct QP and hold as published.
Clear direct QP and hold as published.
For 638 Bravo Golf, turn right heading 180.
Morning, Greensboro, 29 Bravo is 5,000 kilo.
Number 242 Mike Bravo, Greensboro approach, is like the RNAV to the right or the ILS to the left?
To the RNAV 5 right, 42 Mike Bravo.
242 Mike Bravo, roger, expect the RNAV approach runway 5 right. You're clear direct coast for now.
RNAV 5 right, 2 Mike Bravo, no direct to Wichita.
Endeavor 5088, contact tower.
Tower now, Endeavor 5088.
Bravo Golf, Greensboro approach, how do you hear? correction, 583 Papa Uniform, turn right heading 230.
30 on the heading for here, 583 Papa Uniform, and we can hear that Bravo call.
Yeah, I can too. I don't think you can hear me.
Let us know if you want to relay a message.
Number 638 Bravo Golf, Greensboro, how do you hear? Number 583 Papa Uniform, do you want to see if he can hear you?
Citation 583 Bravo Golf, I believe it was. This is here's 583 Papa Uniform trying to relay a message to Greensboro. How do you hear?
We got you. We're 3300. We can't hear him. 638 Bravo Golf.
Okay, Roger, Greensboro. I can get in contact with 638 Bravo Golf for shares 583 Papa Uniform.
Number 583 Papa Uniform, Roger, can you relay his approach clearance for me?
Affirmative, we can do that for you for shares 583 Papa Uniform.
Here's 583 Papa Uniform, Roger. Tell citation 638 Bravo Golf. You can cross Boca at 3,300, cleared ILS 6 at Davidson County.
Citation 683 Bravo Golf. I've got a IFR clearance, approach clearance for you from Greensboro. It's Aroka, I believe it was, at 3,300, cleared ILS runway 6 into Davidson.
017, we're planning ILS move.
For 5 Golf Charlie, Roger, with the ILS Zulu runway 6 into Burlington. I'll give you a downwind vector here in a second.
Roger, thank you. November 583 Papa Uniform, if you could relay to 8 Bravo Golf to change to advisory frequency and report his cancellation on the ground.
Greensboro, information Oscar at Winston-Salem, Greensboro number 3017.
On the ground, advisory frequency change approved.
All right. Getting right into it today. Welcome, everybody. It has been a minute. Yep, ambient gold. That's my favorite one. That's what we like to start the show with every time. Anyway, good to see you all. And it's been a bit. It's been about a month or so, and a lot of work's been done behind the scenes. I've been pretty busy myself and getting a lot of family time in as we close out the summer. Pardon me. Let's get the camera turned us a little bit this way. You see less of the cords, more of my beautiful face. I apologize for that. Anyway, good news. There's some very good news. If you join the Discord, which you should do if you haven't already, and I know our Programmer X here is definitely in on the Discord, but if you join the Discord, you will be able to get access. You can request access to the what I'm calling the alpha version of the Greensboro scenery. I need testers. I need a lot of help with this, and specifically telling me what doesn't look right, what needs some improvement. Oh, there it goes doing that again. I swear it's my KVM situation here. The fact that I use the same mouse and keyboard on two different PCs seems to really wreak havoc on the
Approach jet speed 904 is passing through 12.3 to cross tracks at 1000.
on the flight sim here. It likes to go wonky with my camera. Anyway, so I need testers tell me what needs fixing, what doesn't look quite right, where some improvements can be made. Things like things that I've already kind of discovered on my own is taxiing around this airport. Is the main taxiway here, Kilo, which we're looking down right now, is a bumpy mess, and a lot of that has to do with just the default. You can see some bumps and inconsistencies in that. It's just the default elevation data that your taxiways and whatnot will drape over, and it makes it for a bumpy ride. And so I'm going to try to do something to smooth that out. Which is the same thing I've done on the runways. Essentially, I'm just going to make a big profile that's going to go and flatten it up quite a bit, but still give it a little bit of elevation kind of contour, so it's not just one flat thing, because that would kind of mess up a lot of the heights I got in elsewhere. So the scenery, the groundwork is done in that all the surfaces are in. I think I've got them colored the way I like them. I did all of these ramps. All the ramps are created and sculpted. I got a little bit more to do on the FedEx, but they're there. Now I'm just trying to add parking spots to a lot of that. So that's something we're going to go through today and work on. I figured out a quick way to fix this little runaway drone camera problem I have too. I did some work over here on the Corey Aviation ramp and the Honda Jet ramp, and you can see the altitude issues. You can see the different heights, and this is like this little black line right here is just there's some little weird hiccup with the elevation, and you can kind of see through it a little bit. So flattening that is going to be something that I need to do, and those run exactly north, south, and east, west. So you'll see these things sort of, it goes along this whole seam here. I don't know why it does that, but you'll see these pop up from time to time. Here's our little double hangar here, and then I've got my hangar, and I've also got all the buildings and everything. The default buildings are all turned on right now, so you can actually see some buildings, and the vegetation's all on right now as well, so you can see the bushes and the trees and everything. So that means that my tower is here, and it's not floating in space. The Dropbox version of the scenery that I've made available to that I'm making available to people through the Discord, it does not have the buildings or the vegetation turned on. So this scenery object that I placed inside of the scenery just floats. It doesn't have this building underneath it. It looks kind of funky. But anyway, you can see the terminal, which is helpful because some of you guys are probably going to try to actually dock and stuff at these terminals with some jets, which I highly recommend. And it looks a little funky when it doesn't have the building. I've used it quite a bit there when the terminal's not actually there. So give that a shot. Parking at the FedEx ramp should be working really, really well. I don't know what that means, but all the parking spots should be working even with AI traffic. So a couple of things that you're going to notice is the photo scenery that's underneath. This is an example of something that I need to clean up here, this corner right here. And this one I think is okay, but there's another one that's out showing you the imperfections. This one right here needs to be cleaned up, and this one right here. So a couple curves I did not do yet, and I'm eventually going to extend this ramp out here when I do a little bit more terraforming. So you can see a whole bunch of warping here of the terrain on this taxiway, which this is what you get default land. So that all needs fixed. So there's a whole lot of contouring of the land that I still need to do, and I'm not that part's, it's not a perfect science. It's really, really hard to do and get to be accurate. Like this whole taxiway part right here is flat because without that flatten, most of this whole grass section is flat except for this little part, which I added in myself. But because this part, when the DEM data was there, didn't actually have any of this taxiway, it's a bumpy mess. And there's a few spots that are like that. The DEM elevation data, digital elevation map that they use to make the elevation for this scenery, Rosenbauer, huh? That looks like a GSX model, doesn't it? I recently got GSX, by the way. It's old. So anyway, that data is old, and you can tell because places like here, taxiway Echo, you got this big Boeing spot where because this part didn't exist. In fact, I think this whole side of the airport did not exist when they did the data for that. So that's why I've gotten a lot of bumps and stuff in the terrain around here. Now the runway's flat. We know that because I flattened it. I put a runway profile in which flattens it, and I was able to make the curvature of the runway in terms of long ways. I'm going to do the same with this taxiway. I've done this taxiway here. Taxiway Echo is the one that has the really, really significant slope to it, and it had just a crazy looking curve right in here that was very unrealistic. So now it is much flatter. In fact, I did it to the foot. I use the same strategy or technique, I should say, to... Oh, look, there's a seam. I don't know if I'll be able to fix that one. Anyway, I used the same strategy and a technique to make the curvature of this taxiway that I did on the runways. So it's using the same technique. It's a different feature in the sim. You can't do like a... It doesn't by default have a profile that you can add to a taxiway. You can see that is a lot straighter than it was before. But it is still a significant slope, and I'm going to have to work with the land around it and everything to really get that looking realistic. But I like where it's at. That is really nice. And I did the same with taxiway Delta over here, which also has a pretty good slope to it. Starting essentially right over here, and it comes down this way. And I did the same thing right over here, where this part was just sort of dropping right off into oblivion, whereas it's more gradual in real life. So this is a lot more realistic looking now as well. So it meets back up with Taxiway Hotel.
Okay, we're slowing the final approach speed, jet speed 904.
So a little update also on a little Greensboro up. I've been doing some work with the terrain around here to try to get this mountain part, this hill kind of better. And I think it's coming along. Anyway, a little Greensboro update. The new tower is now open as of last Monday, so it's been open for exactly 1 week. So our new tower in Tracon is open. It's kind of makes going to work a little extra exciting, I guess you could say. So this is about the vantage point that we have from the new tower. Something like this. It's kind of the main view that you'll have from the local position. Just look down and see the old tower, obviously. But it's pretty nice so far. We like it a lot, and I think we'll keep it. So yeah, this is about what we see. I guess this is, so you can tell this is old. There's a whole like Uber lot right here now that's not on this photos. But anyway, yeah, so this is about what you see right here from the tower. This is the vantage point that the tower position will look at for the most part. It's out this way, and there's plenty of visibility so that you can see all the way behind yourself. The windows are low enough that you can see pretty much everything from everywhere in the tower, which is really awesome. Programmer X asks, what mic am I using? This is the Shure SM7B. Let's see, I can't turn it, but anyway, pretty popular mic amongst podcasting and YouTube video making, blogging, I guess, type of stuff. So streamers use it a lot as well, and it's responsible for a lot of the bass. Anyway, so there's some cleanup work to do here. I've got to take out all of these trees here because they were all removed with the tower project. I'm working on getting some sort of data on the dimensions of the buildings for the new tower and stuff, so I can eventually do a 3D model of that. That would be really nice. I've got to take all of these trees out, these probably as well, so that I can make room for the new Heiko hangar, which is right here, and then that'll be there. If you have a discerning eye, which you probably don't, if you don't know much about our airport, then you don't know that there's a taxiway right there generally, or at least there used to be, called Mike, let's just see, that would be Mike 3. So we got Mike 1 right here, Mike 2 right here. There used to be a Mike 3 attached right there, which is the least used taxiway on the entire airport. Mike 4 right here, 5, and then it goes on and on downwards. So there used to be a taxiway there, and when they resurfaced the runway, especially the middle part, they just decided they were taking it out, which was really good because it was useless. So it's no longer there, but of course, because this photo scenery that we're using is several years old, it was still there on the photo. So I had to remove it, which you can't tell probably happened from this view unless you know it's there. And so I spent some time I put a nice polygon of grass in right over it, and you can still see it, the image peeking through a little bit there. So I'm going to try to bring this back down a little bit so I can get rid of that. But anyway, I colored matched it pretty well, I think, with the terrain around it. So when it starts to look funky is when all of a sudden you start zooming out a little bit, and it gets a little bit of a dark border to it. So see, now you can kind of tell it's there. It sticks out a little bit. But anyway, when you're down deep in the actual scenery, running on down this runway and everything, you're probably not going to ever notice it. So there's that. Definitely see a little bit of a color difference, so maybe a little bit of touch-up work is needed, but it's pretty much the same deal. And so yeah, that's there. If and when they ever update the photos to something more recent, then I will probably take that little piece out. Little piece out. So as I said, all the ramps are in. I did all the fine-tuning of the textures a little bit, and that I got the squares to a pretty good size. I could have spent a lot more time doing it with a lot more pieces, and it would have been for very minimal results, I think. So all the textures are all aligned the right direction, as close as I could get, because it only lets you rotate them in full degrees, which is kind of strange. I wish there was a better option there. There's a little discoloration in this one. This one's a little bit darker and a little bit different shape. See there. So yeah. Oh, there's one piece that I haven't finished yet. I don't know why. So I have a ramp that goes all the way across here, which is where the modern ramp is, but it's covered by trees currently. This piece right here, for some reason, I haven't done yet. I don't know what I want to do with that, because in this older version of it here, it is cement. This piece of cement kind of continues down into that. But in the newer one, they've resurfaced this whole taxiway. It is asphalt. Kind of match this too. So Google imagery would have that asphalt, but the Bing imagery still has the cement. So dilemma there. Go with whatever seems appropriate, I guess. This ramp I did, which I thought was pretty neat, because it has little cement spots that sit on top of asphalt. So which is kind of different when you're modeling it, or at least putting down the aprons in the sim, because it just, you have an extra little apron to put on top. But anyway, these are here because there's a lot of airplanes at the hangars here that just sit for a long periods of time. And there's often a 767 that's kind of got its main gear back here and its nose gear right there. Then you get something kind of similar over here. So airplanes, cement is generally has a higher weight, load bearing capacity, and is built more for holding heavy airplanes for long periods of time, which is why most terminal ramps that you'll see at airports for like airliners and whatnot are cement, as this one is, and they're not asphalt. Whereas GA ramps tend to be asphalt, because it's a lot of lighter airplanes and they're usually not there for quite so long. So that's a little bit of that. I added the ramp in here at the signature MRO ramp. It's very, very basic at this point. It doesn't have a whole lot of detail to it, and I did add a fuel box, which that's a lot different looking than it was the last time I did it. I loaded this in, but it kind of just put something random there. And so still some work to do to kind of get rid of all the underlying stuff here. And adding lines is something I need to do, painted lines, but I'm not going to do it with this photo scenery underneath, because it's a kind of a different configuration than what they use currently. And then I have some source photos that were provided by one of our loyal followers and Discord members for this whole entire parking situation over here, where I will be able to hopefully do some good modeling of the weird little kind of pull-in hangars. Pull-in, not really a hangar, but it's there's some roofing over it, let's just say. There's no doors, so it's not a hangar, but there's some little covered parking here that takes up these 4 rows. That they're bigger down here and smaller over here, but I'll make all those usable parking spots. That'll be a pain, but I'll do it. And I don't know what I'm going to do with the T hangars here yet. And then there's hangar space here at Signature. A couple of hangars here. This is Vanity Fair's old hangar. And so yeah, that's hangar space. They'll do the Honda stuff. A lot of modeling to be done. And I have almost zero experience doing it. So see, I don't know how to texture things, so that's why I just have this white hangar sitting over here. Very basic hangar. That's specifically why I started with that one, because I have almost no idea how I'm going to do that, and it's a little bit aggravating. But So yeah, I've got some tutorials and stuff that I'm going through. Some learn how to blend type of things that I'm working with. So service, well, not service pack, but Sim Update 10 is out. So I'm on Sim Update 10. I have been on it for a while. I was on the beta before it was even released, and it had a whole lot of improvements to the scenery editor process, and makes things a lot better. And it's also helping the performance if you have the most updated game ready driver from NVIDIA. It does a lot of DLSS stuff that really makes the sim move a lot smoother, and hopefully it's looking smoothish. My frames are definitely up over the 60 mark right now, so I've done some tweaking of some things, and so yeah, so we got to get right into it. Let's go ahead and open up the project here, KGSO rebuild. So anyway, if you want to help kind of alpha test some things out, make sure everything looks like it's kind of in the right spot, especially if you have specific knowledge of this airport. That would be very, very helpful. I would appreciate it greatly. Alright, things loading in. Vegetation's in. Some of the buildings are in, but not all of the buildings. That's kind of strange. I should probably just go ahead and... I have noticed that the clouds do weird things when you move around. But anyway, clouds look nice. So there's buildings, 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 buildings. Buildings are back. Okay. Goes the runaway. It's definitely KVM related, the sort of runaway drone camera thing that I've got. So, because when I pull the mouse off of this computer and back onto it, it usually stops it. So, odd behavior. No, the sim was probably not really meant to do that. Let's take a look at... Let's do some debug here. So we'll go to airports, draw debug. And there's our ILSs, which I've added in. So you now have ILSs, the 5 ILS systems that we have at the airport. Let's see if I can turn that off. Yeah, ILSs are turned off. See all the parking. This is what I want to show you. So I've got parking here, here, and here, here, and here. All these little parking spots. Sam Purse has a parking spot, even though I don't have a hangar on this, on any version of the scenery. That'll be added in. I've added their little cement spot as well for the Sam Purse aircraft. There it goes. Okay, and I need to do parking spots here. I have one parking spot for the fuel box that comes with the fuel box. In fact, it's a parking spot. This is for the fuel trucks only. I still just have my lone little parking spot here for my default Skyhawk. And all these cargo spots. I originally only had 2 cargo spots, but I added one for Magellan down there, which usually does U.S. mail. They bring in and out. And so yeah, there we go. So as I said, I also recently purchased GSX, $29, and too bad. I was messing with it a little bit last night, which was fun. And so I'm going to try to also eventually provide a profile for our airport for that as well, so you get all the parking stuff in the right spot, and the parking spots will actually work accurately. That's going to take some time. That is going to really take some work. Let's see. So I was messing with spot 29 here, which trying to get the aircraft actual parking point to match with the scenery underneath was tough, because you can tell that the parking line here, which is derived from a more recent Google image, it doesn't line up with what was on the Bing one to start with. So all of these little outer shapes and stuff like that aren't the same, aren't in the right spot. So I'm going to have to bring the Google imagery back in and then trace around and try to find all of those. Then I'll place the aircraft in what I think is the right spot, and then kind of draw the scenery around the airplane to kind of get the little nose points and stuff like that in there. So yeah, there's still more detail work to be done there. So it's a growing project. There's a whole lot of room for improvement, and I think we'll just get right into it. Let's flatten out Taxiway Kilo a little bit, shall we? So one more note, the runways, the runway 1432, I put the slope in on that runway. It actually gradually climbs as it comes out this way. It kind of hollows out right around where the runway intersections are, and then it just flat. It's pretty much flat. So those are a good height, which I think my method has been in terms of determining heights is I go off of what Google Earth says in terms of the height to the foot, and then I add 5 feet to it. It seems to kind of match up with what we've got going on here a little bit better that way. And so that is a process. Now, I did that with that runway, but the other two runways, the parallel runways, I didn't add the 5 feet. So they are naturally a little bit lower than they probably should be. And you can see there's a little bit of a valley here that happens at the edge of the runway because just the terrain in this sim is just lower. It's just higher than, I guess, Google Earth, I should say. It's higher than Google Earth. So I have to add a little bit to it. And I figured that somewhere between 5 and 6 feet was pretty much right. All right, gotta go walk the dog, man. Gotta do what you got to do. So anyway, so I need to go through those numbers all and add 5 feet to them, which is going to be a bit of a pain. So I'll have to go through all the points all over again, especially this runway has a ton of them because there's a ton of elevation change. But I will do it nonetheless, and it'll probably level out a little bit better with everything else around it. So let's do that with Kilo right now. We're going to do that exact process, and I'll show you how we do that. And I generally start with Google Earth, so I'm going to open that up. And where's my button? I don't have a button for that anymore, do I? No, but you can see it if I do this. There we go. And
2589, turn right heading 180.
Right turn to 180, Delta 2589.
Alright, now you can see all of it. So double click there. Alright.
Delta 2589, leaving 7,000, clear direct bolt.
Leaving 7,000 direct
All right.
bolt, Delta
So I'll
2589.
make sure that you guys can see. What's going on. Anyway, we'll kind of zoom in down here at the end. I'm going to rotate it so we can still see kind of the same vantage that we've got in the sim right now. There we go. If I turn it off, we're kind of looking at the same thing here.
Number 89, Sierra, you can fly farthest frequency or your downtime with the phone number. Advise I'm ready to copy.
So there's the picture in Google. Here's what we got in the sim. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically mouse over these different points here and kind of get an idea for what the altitude is. You can't see the altitude because it's covered by my beautiful face. Maybe I'll show that to you really quick here.
Delta 2589, contact Atlanta Center 128.8, good day.
There we go. Down here in the corner. See that? There we go. Down here in the corner, see the feet. As I scroll over, it's 879, 880. Kind of the same elevation the whole way through. So we're going to say that's all 880. And we're going to move up from there. 880, 882. 883. So it's a long, gradual climb. So this is very flat, this part right here. And it's hard to tell here because you can't get down. But you can see that it gets flat up until right around out here. It goes around the edge of it, which is something that we can put in the sim, I guess. I'll do a little bit of that. And it kind of, oops, I'm looking at two different things here. It kind of gullies out right over here. Bunch of drainage. Gets a little unflat after that. But anyway, so we'll flatten that part.
Circling left around the bolt. Hey, Charlie, thank you.
I think gonna try to leave the flattening just to the actual inside of the taxiway, because the trick here is I can only do this in a rectangle and have a profile with the whole thing. It can't be the entire. I can only go down this in a rectangle, so I got to try to get the taxiway, and the wider it gets, actually I could do it wider to start with and just go down to here with that, and then do a narrower one from there. I could do that. That's what I'll do, I think. So I'll do two different polygons, and it pretty much hits 883 feet right at this intersection. So that's perfect. That's a really good break for us. All right, so this is how I'm going to do this. I haven't even opened up the editor yet, so go ahead and hit this, load in the editor. I don't care what color everything is today. I'm going to hide all of the objects. Got to work with polygons, so I'm going to open this up, go to taxiways, and I'm going to hide all the taxiway signs, hide all the taxiway paths. In fact, I'm gonna hide all of the taxiways that aren't taxiway kilo. All the ramps, hidden. Snare. GA ramp is yellow. Why is it yellow? So GA ramp is yellow because I have a bunch of parking spots defined, but I don't have them attached to any of the actual taxiway networks yet. So that will come into play later.
Number 244 Alpha Tango Greensboro, approach you loud and clear. And if you have time for a quick relay for me. 3687
Inspector here. I want to just make sure that I have pretty much all of that taxiway all the way down. Yeah, I do. So it needs flattening. Then we're going to do the same thing on Echo to get across here. I can maybe just extend. No, I don't want to do that though. That will really mess things up. So anyway, a lot of polygon work.
432226129.
Oh, you just heard the new Tracon phone number. Alright, so I will do a rectangle that comes pretty much all the way down to here. Then goes that way. And then I'm going to do another polygon just to flatten this whole part up here around it. So that'll kind of... I'm going to add the face cam back here. So that'll kind of give it... Oh, hey, oh. That's not what I meant to do. Boom. So anyway, here I am. So it'll kind of help broaden out this whole section of the terrain here and make it so that it's all flatter as well. And then we'll just have the narrow rectangle. So this is how this is going to work. So I want to make sure I'm back in editor mode here. I don't need to see the wireframes for a lot of this, but oh well. Get what you get. Oh, let's do this. So the line's gone. The light row's gone. Oh, look at that. It's so much easier to look at now. Let's go ahead and disappear all the runways. Not the taxiways. That's it. All the taxiways, yes, except for Kilo. I want to see Kilo. I don't want to see light rows, and I don't want to see lines. There we go. It just makes all of this so much easier. And look, better frames because of it. Okay. So we're going to get rid of this slant and hump. Alright. So we got to go back up to our polygons here. Make sure we have the polygon folder selected so that when I put this rectangle in there, it goes in the right folder. There it is, our rectangle. Now, we have to go out here and add a profile to the rectangle. I haven't done any anything with the rectangle yet, but I'm going to go ahead and just start setting this up, this profile editor up, so that it looks correct. There we go, got the point settings, and I can sort of see through it to see where that rectangle is, and I just want to make sure that I align the right end of it, which is always sort of a hassle for me. So I go over here and add a new point. There's point 1, or point 0 technically, but point 1 and point 2, and I'm going to add a intermediate point just there, just to make it have multiple spots, and now you can see where that point is because it shows you the little lines for each of the points that you make. So now I know where point 1 is. It's right here. This is point 2. Perfect. Well, now point 3. So I can just exit that for now. You can always bring it back by going up to Show Profile Editor up here. and then pop it right back up, and then you can hide it just like that. Okay, so I'm going to grab all these nodes. The nodes. Let's actually go down, and I'm going to lock up all of these aprons so that I don't accidentally click on anything. There we go. Okay, so rotation. I can grab a corner node and drag it this way so that we're kind of facing. I'll line it up with those lines there. The end nodes I'm going to pull until we get right here in the middle of this intersection. Right about there. Edge nodes. Pull this one out to there. That one into there. Got a little bit more. There we go. And this last end node, I'm going to pull this one. I grabbed the wrong one. Node. White one's the one I want. There we go. Pull it this way. Down to right about there. Okay. Now that sort of moves a little bit, which is sort of strange behavior. Okay, so there we go. And the orange part is the actual contour, whereas the rectangle is just going to show you, it's just going to be completely flat for the yellow wireframe, but the orange wireframe will actually show contour. So it's good to float around a little bit and take a look, make sure everything's kind of lining up where you want it to be. Notice the longer I hold this, I'm holding, it's all rotating, which is totally funky, and I don't like it. It's a problem. It's noted. The devs know about it. They need to fix it, because that stinks. And look, this whole thing is all cattywampus now. This whole thing's just going funky on me. All right, let's take that one. Bring it on back. That one. Bring it over there. Okay. I'm going to widen this one. Narrow this one. Alright, that's in a pretty good spot, I think. Okay, so we're going to say that's good. Now I'm going to use my converter, feet to meters, which is brought to you by DuckDuckGo. Reinhard, Shock Salty's in the house. No context, I just got here. More trees everywhere, yeah. We need lots and lots of trees. Good to see you, my man. Thanks for stopping by.
Rain 410 Lima, no traffic observed between you and Mount Airy. Radar service terminated. Squawk VFR frequency change approved.
The great Chalk Salties. Okay. What's I doing? I don't remember. I'm going to swing this around a little bit just to match with the taxiway a little better. There we go. Does that look nice? Okay, as good as it's going to get, because everything sort of creeps on me. Okay, so don't need that anymore. So we have this nice long rectangle, and if I go to Google, remember we're going to come back over here and get a elevation reading. This is saying 881. Let's go with 881. Seems to be, I like it. I like 880 better, I think. It's 880 right off of the ramp here. Let's do that. Let's just use 880. Now, till there, maybe? Okay, let's do that. Yeah, so 880. I got to add 5 feet to it, so 885 885, converting to meters. And so I'm show profile editor. We're going to the first point. The first point, which is at 0, located at 0. We're going to put the equivalent 269.748. That's what that one is.
5237, Roger, thank you. And I think you called up direct
So
Union,
that
but
is
if you're not
loaded.
already,
And then I'm going to
direct.
measure kind of to the beginning of the taxiway there.
5237, Roger.
Take the measuring tool. Let's get that out of the way.
4.05, good day.
Zoom in here. Kind of a top down.
Traffic is no longer observed. Would be behind you.
There, and we'll go up to those lights right there. And that is 64.91 meters. 64.91. Don't forget that number, everybody. Alright, so here we are. Point 2 is what I'm grabbing. And this is 64.91 meters down. And we're adding a foot. So I have to go back to my little number here and go to 886 feet. Which in meters, would be 270.052 feet. There we go. We got a nice little bump up in altitude, which is right here, right where I put it measured to on the old googly earth. Come on, grab that node. Grab the node. Don't be stubborn. Why can't I grab that node? There we go. Swing it back. There we go. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, so that's 1 foot. 1 foot of elevation change, and you're gonna notice, Inspector, look how much flatter everything is. This has all gotten incredibly flat. Just like that. It's flat. So hooray for that. Now it's got a huge downward that way. Things that need work. Yeah.
Approach on 124.35, 9 Bravo Golf.
Now I wonder what altitude did I put in for the FedEx ramp? Let's turn the FedEx ramp back on. I don't want parking. Don't really want lines, but anyway. So if I open the gizmo up, I select it. This is all one big flatten right here, right? So if I select the flatten, and I open the gizmo, 272. Why did I do that? What height did I use for that? 875? 78?
About left, 19.1.
Interesting. Okay, so I might have to change this so that this comes back to here and then it sort of starts to slope up that way. Let's do that. I'm gonna fine-tuning of terraforming. Here we go. Let's go.
November 275 Golf Charlie, you are released for departure. Clearance void is not off for 5 minutes. Not off for 5 minutes.
Okay,
5
so
minutes,
that is now
850
flat
no later.
that way. I think I made this too high. So if we're going with 875-ish for the whole height of that, so 880 is what I should have for... Is that right? Yeah, 880, 268. Oh yes, that's way too high. Okay, so this is now becoming 268.224. So I'm lowering the FedEx ramp.
Your type aircraft, is that a Belonga?
Oh, it's a Bell helicopter.
Ugh, the rookies don't know their helicopters. It's disgusting. Okay, so that changes, that fixes that. This is all just too high. Kind of changed the way that the Earth around it terraforms, I guess. It's out of control. There we go. Got it back. Okay, so that's all that.
1 to 2 o'clock in about 1.5 miles.
Oh, get that stupid little bumpity there. Now I need to make it slant up from there. It's 880. There's an 880 for the height there. Okay, and that'll go from 875. Okay, so I'll actually pull these back even a little bit more, like there. Casanova.
November 5 Golf Charlie, you can make that request with Washington Center, and that'll be on 124.05.
And I want to decrease this to about 75 meters. Change all the terrain around it. Some steep slopes now. So none of this was built up when this DEM data was taken either. So I'm recontouring all the Earth around this airport. So I'll do a rectangle from here that builds up to there. It's kind of, so they kind of overlap. That's easy to do. All right, still inside of my polygon folder. The rectangle, add. Remember that this is the beginning side here. I want to rotate it around like that. Very nicely. Then you pull this out to right about there. Pull this down to right about there. A little bit of a turn. Good. And then this is going to go all the way up to this one. Good. Yes, I like that. I'm just going to make this a straight edge here. So go to a profile. I don't need to add any points. I'm just going to go to the first point. So point 1. Be it 880, 68.224, 0.2, 885. Goes up 5 meters, 5 feet, I guess. So 9.748.
There's 816 Mike, my contact Greensboro approach 126.6. Have a good day.
All right, let's see how this looks. What? I seem to have erred. Alright, so I've got the rest of this ramp too high too somehow. Too high also. $268. so this land is not sitting where it's supposed to. Why? Yeah, it is. But then there's that. Why does that happen? Oh, that's the level it's supposed to be at.
Greensboro approach, jet cherry, 45 descending, let's see, 14,100 descending across 30 miles, that's 10,000.
Sir, 845 Greensboro approach. Good morning, Altimeter 301.
I don't know, guys.
5 right short.
Why isn't it flattening properly?
45 Roger, flight 235, vector final approach course.
Heading 235, vectors for the final approach course, jet cherry, 845.
FedEx Poly is too dang high. Isaac, what's up? Good to see you, buddy. It's been a while. Sorry I didn't see you come in. I haven't looked in that direction in a minute. Alright, so this possible fix here. I'm running away again. Okay. Possible fix here is to untick the terraforming button. And then retick the terraforming button.
Greensboro approach, Vanessa 9585 Quebec, 11000.
The 9585 Quebec Greensboro approach. Good morning, Greensboro Altimeter 3017.
3017.
Oh, this is awkward. What's going on here? First day of auditions for an indoor group yesterday. All right, tell me all about it, please. How did that go? I did everything you said and none of it worked. I think I know what we've got going on here. Okay. So this is, I think, a case of... Yeah, I think that's what this is. I'm going to save this. We're going to close. I think this is a case of the underlying scenery that I'm editing is the exact same scenery that I'm editing. Except it's not up to date. So we got conflicting flattens happening here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually close this out. This gives us a chance to add a little bit of detail here too. Man, I love that you're going through with these auditions and everything. It's a risk. It's a personal risk. I know. It's nerve-wracking. It is uncomfortable because I've been there. All right, it's Heiko, we got terminal, FedEx. All right, I'm going to put the FedEx one in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into add-on linker. Excuse me. And let's see if we can go with scenery, and I'm going to turn off my own scenery because that seems to be causing a bit of a conflict. Leave that in there, and okay, so that's changed. Go into the community folder and move this aerial imagery for FedEx in there. Let's see, I've got all the GSX stuff. I actually want to turn that off, I think, right now. So go into the FS Dream Team installer and deactivate. Okay. That didn't quite do what I wanted it to do. Not active. But anyway, it took it pretty much all out of the... Yeah, it took all that stuff out, so it won't load in. LTL traffic, AIG traffic.
845, turn right heading 240, just widen you out, descend a Paladin
Oh, here,
crest
okay.
and maintain 6,000.
So let's load this back up.
40 PD down to 6,000, jet stream.
Went really well. It's a lot of information. Play-wise, I did all right, but for the visual side, I have to get used to toe first marching. Ugh. Roll step, yeah, so it's an adjustment. Yeah, that's what I did in high school. We didn't do that toe step stuff when I marched. It's very popular indoor stuff. It's everything's like WGI. Basically, you're getting used to like jazz running around with a drum on, which is very different than how I learned to march. But you're used to crabbing back and forth toe first, right? So it shouldn't feel too incredibly different. But that's where you're going to learn. So you're going to learn all that. And you got to be looking up like this all the time. Looking up at the box, way up there.
Good morning, 940 Tango Whiskey, 12.8.
I hate that stuff.
Descending 6,000.
This is one of the reasons I don't like indoor.
940 Tango Whiskey, Greensboro,
So they turn you into a dancer, and I'm old school. I'm not into any of that. All right, so we've got the airport loaded back up. We got the FedEx ramp details are in there. I don't know why. Now that I think about it, I have no idea why I did that. So this is the original Sims version of this that we're loading in. This is not the snare version that I'm loading into. So it's going to look a little different.
November 940 Tango Whiskey, turn left heading 300, vector to the approach.
300, Tango Whiskey.
All right. Ordered back in we are. To the dev cam. My oh my, does this look different. This doesn't look anything like my handiwork.
November 0 Tango Whiskey, descend and maintain 4,000.
4,000, Tango Whiskey.
Gosh, my stuff looks way better than this. It's kind of cool to go in and see what it is we're working towards, right? Just watch all the lopsidedness of this. Oh, just it's a mess. Look at this. This is the exact slop that we were working to avoid with the technique that I used on the runways. 9 snares auditioning and there are 6 spots open. So I might have a chance. There you go. No. I don't care if there's 1 spot open. You've always got a chance, man. You're gonna work for it. Oh man, mine is so much better than this. Alright, so enough admiring of my own work, which isn't even loaded in currently. So we're going to go back down here. I've got some nice higher res Google Earth imagery for FedEx ramp loaded in, which won't really help us at all. But I did it just because I can. You can see it's actually higher res than stuff we're using here. Oh, that's because this is different. Yeah, this is different stuff. That's the photogrammetry that Bing loads. This is something completely different. Anyhow. Good job, little one. Good job. High five. Anywho, okay. so you can see that even in this scenery, well, it's much flatter here. So what did I do to mess this up?
It is Alpha current at Greensboro Airport, Altimeter 3017.
How did I mess that up?
2500 broken.
Information Bravo current at Greensboro, altimeter 3017. Sorry, Greensboro,
This
information
is
out.
incredibly flat. Is that what it is? It's just flat? This airport's flat. Why is the airport flat?
Breaker 4631 Greensboro, departure, good morning, your radar contact. I'll maintain 12000.
Okay, so that's part of it. It's really easy to do these things when the airport's flat.
31549 Greensboro, loud and clear, Altimeter 3017.
8.32, good day.
There's no contour at all. Okay, so the airport's flattened. That's the problem. So this is a big difference between default and my scenery. Got flat Earth. Alright, so let's load it in. And boom. Loading, loading, loading.
4631, clear direct GD. Yeah, we were given direct GD from Breaker 4631 on the takeoff.
All of a sudden, my scenery starts to load in. There we go. And now it's using DEM data. It's not using that flatness anymore. So, okay, difference. I didn't even realize that that was a big difference between mine and this, is that now you actually have the DEM data kind of being overridden here. Now everything gets slopey. And it is so much easier. This would all be so much easier if I just had the whole airport flattened. But that's not what this airport is. This airport is not a flat airport. See all that? This is what the DEM data by default wants to do. It wants to make all of this all roly-poly and everything. And be a big giant mess. We're not going to let it. Okay. So now I'm going to load the placement files.
080, 3000 established, clear for RNAV, runway 5 right, jet sharing confirmed.
It's going to take a minute here. There we go. So, yep, I knew that's what the problem was. So my flatten was being overridden by the other flatten that was in there from the same scenery. So that's why when you're working in a scenery editor, you don't want to have the scenery, you don't want your community folder version of your airport already loaded in, because it's going to conflict. Because this flatness I wasn't able to get before. And this is exactly what we want. Very good. Okay. So I'm going to go back in. We're going to turn all the objects off. Turn everything off except for the FedEx ramp. Taxiway Kilo. Opening Kilo. I just want the aprons. I want them visible, but not changeable. And we're just working in the polygons. There we go. Even for FedEx. Everything hidden but the apron, and I don't want to be able to edit the apron. There we go. Okay, so this flatten is what we're working with right here. This is the one that we were going to put down to 880. No. Yeah, 880. So 268.224. Watch it, I'll just go.
J45, tower 19, 1 half
So
per day.
wacky how these things work. Alright, there it goes. Alright, so that works. And now the slope of the rest of the ramp up to that point looks like it's working. Again, it kind of flattens out here. Very good. All right. Look at that nice flat taxiway. That's what we're going for. So they're flat. This part still falls off because, again, I was going to go in and kind of change some of this with a polygon that I haven't done yet. That part has not been done, so don't fret. So now I got this hill. This stuff must have all been cut out. I must have moved a ton of dirt for this whole project. Probably took a bunch of it and filled in over here because this is all just falling off the face of the earth also. Oh, hilly that is. My goodness gracious. So flatten that. So all these bridges and everything work actually really nicely with the default. Bravo for that. Of course, here's my little addition here. Why it falls off like that, I don't understand. Got a big flatten. The terminal ramp flattened. I extended out to here because this is really the point where it really flattens. This whole row is actually elevated up. So when I model it, there will be two levels to this. This will be coming up. This is a big hill that comes up to here. It's down. So there's a lot of work to be done. Where were we? Ah, yes, the flattening of the taxiway. Okay, so this rectangle we can finally get back to. Sorry, this just took such a weird end around. 883 is what we're building up to, so 888 is what I'm going to put in here for the top altitude of the other side of this. So show profile, and I want the last point, which right now is 0.3, be 270.6624. So now we got little holes, which makes me think I really got to add even more to these numbers. 5's not enough. That'll come up a couple. Oh my goodness. You're just gonna have altitude issues everywhere. This whole airport's gonna be covered in polygons that are terraforming. I just don't know how else to do this. I thought this was supposed to be a hill that goes up from this ramp to the FedEx ramp. Nope, it's the exact opposite. That's good to know. Okay, so I'm doing something right. Okay, so it's all very flat. They flatten the heck out of this up to the road. Kind of like a time warp doing this. Go back and kind of see what the land used to look like before all this was built. So most of this hill right here is flattened, and then it goes up, and this road actually has a big slope down that it makes to the flat part. Makes sense. Okay, so we can do these. We can do this. Now there's a tool. I should say this. There is a tool that I can get that is really only for commercial use. It's 120 pounds is what they're charging for it. But I mean, whatever. It's close to $120. And then I can take a more recent DEM file and completely replace all of this. All of the altitude information for the whole airport. But there's no way to, Microsoft Flight Simulator has not made a way to work with elevation files. They have not made us a SDK for that. So the methods that I'm using are really the only ways we can do that. There's something called a height map. You can see it, it's right up here, this button right here, where you take something like this and you say, oh, I'm going to add a height map. And then it's this grid of which you can make things go higher and lower and stuff like that and shape it around. So that is what that program that I can get does, is it basically covers the entire airport in a height map. And then takes the DEM data from a file and sets all of these little grid marks up at the right spot. So that's what that does. And it would give me a much better contour without having to do all these individual little polygons. $120 though.
2.3 climbing 5,000.
That doesn't seem worth it. That seems like a lot of expenditure without a whole lot of reward. So I don't think I'll be doing that yet. I see if I can get the free access to the free version, since I'm not going to be charging money for this initially. The scenery, they might let me use it. So yeah, there's that possibility. Otherwise, I'm gonna be covering this entire airport in polygons. All the taxiways will have polygons, which they're already starting to, and I'm gonna have to contour every little bit of it. Maybe it's worth it. I don't know.
Greensboro, King Air 53 Bravo Alpha.
I really don't know.
King Air 53 Bravo Alpha, Greensboro approach.
Yes, sir. November 53 Bravo Alpha, the VE-20, 35 southwest of Winston-Salem, 7,500. Got Papa, inbound VFR, landed Winston-Salem.
I mean, it would be nice to see the scenery like up to date in terms of the elevations of everything, because I'm never going to be able to cover this entire airport, scenery like elevation wise. That's just not realistic. there's some spots that, man, they just need help.
Here, 53 Bravo Alpha radar contact. Position is 47,500. Thank you. Expect flight.
So what I can do now is mess with the priorities of things. So this polygon is priority 0. The rectangle, the slanted rectangle I made building up this way is priority 0. And this one is priority 0. So what I can do now is I'm going to make this priority 1. I'll change a little bit about what goes on over here, because this part needs to slant up to this taxiway also.
128.8, Wisconsin 4009.
That being a huge bump. See, it's created a bump right in here. And that is what I don't want. So I'm going to make another rectangle. So many rectangles in here that gradually comes up and joins there. Terraforms, terraforms, terraforms. And if we want to look at Google Map, Google Earth, here we go. So I'll basically, this whole lighter part, I'll just make it going up into there. Yeah, I think that'll work. Let's change elevation here. 1 foot maybe. I can actually extend it all the way into the runway. Let's do that. Oops, there we go, rotating again. Whee! Sorry if it's making any of you sick. Alright, so I'm going to put a rectangle here that builds all the way up into this part. Because we can. And we must. Alright, back into editor. Polygon. Objects. Rectangle. I knew this was going to be a big pain. I knew this was going to be a huge project that I was taking on. Okay. This is the first one here, I think. So let's rotate it that way. Grab this and bring it back over here. I can continue this all the way into there. Let's bring it into there. Why don't we do that much?
For 15494 contact, Charlotte approach, Roanoke approach, 126.9.
Charlotte approach. Should be ashamed of yourself.
Remember 15494 contact, Roanoke approach, 126.9.
126.9 of a train.
A little bit of tilt of the camera.
Said you're a diamond?
Alright, now check in the data here to see where the what height did we end up putting this in at?
Break 410 Lima Squawk 5101. 101.
Alright, Gizmo says 269. 443207, which is 884. Is that right?
Number 8410 Lima radar contact 5 miles southwest on air.
884. Where did I come up with that number?
Maintain VFR. Number 53 Bravo Alpha Departure send at your discretion. Winston information pop is current.
We do have pop, and we're getting ready to start our VFR descent for 53 Bravo Alpha.
880 maybe, so 885 is what that should be at. So go at 885. Change this in the gizmo just a slight bit. 269.748. So raising it up a foot. And where's the point that it... I'm going up to 886. Alright, so this is going to be 270.0528. There we go. So that raises up. Means the runway is going to have to raise up because the runway is going to be in a real gully now. As you can see, it is. It's in a gully. So that's where I need to add the 5 feet to the runway. It stops being such a gully. This is all, what did I make it, 886? So this has to end at 886. Go show profile.
8410 Lima, contact Atlanta Center 125.15.
And auto adapt canvas.
2515.
Current point selection. Point 2. Which is this one right here. Needs to be 270.0528. Go. This is of priority. And the starting point $280 or 880. Whatever.
Contact Washington Center 124.05. Good day.
Point 1, on the other hand, is going to be 268.224.
Yeah, just want to make sure 124.0.
Then if I go and decide to add a point, perfect. Okay, so I did select the points correctly. All right. Okay, so this goes through to here-ish. Joins forces with this part, so it's the same height, and it's just a gradual... The runway takes precedence, that's why it slopes there, but it's just a gradual decline. Why is this happening? Why is there a bump here? Oh, because I didn't have it up to that right altitude there. Okay, it's just a straight line across. Okay, we'll fix that. We will fix that. I really hate that this has to be done with rectangles and I can't do like wedges. Ugh. Let's shrink this down to like 15 meters. I want this to be a huge slope difference. Okay. So now I actually have to do the measuring here. I'm going to go from this edge of the ramp.
got 14.8 Hendy is 12, and we
Figure
have
out which voice I'm listening to.
3583 Greensboro approach altimeter
Okay, now.
3017.
All right, point 2. So it is only 13.95 meters until we go up a foot.
Oscar, Tango, Tango, out.
Should take it to 881. 8.5288.
Going Alpha November, reback, correct? 166, have a minute to your route, fast ready copy.
November 537 Papa Golf. There will be some crossing traffic at about 5 miles to Skyhawk. Currently at your 1 2 o'clock and 8 miles southbound.
Next foot.
Maintain 5,000.
Adding another new point.
Contact Atlanta Center 125
This one is 43.92.
The Zulu in that destination. 406 Victor.
16 Victor, reback, correct?
Ah, I got it. I just need to get that height map. This is too much. This is gonna take too long. This is gonna be really annoying. Take forever. Don't know if I'm gonna get the result that I want from it. Dang it. Okay, and I've lost my entire audience, of course. Measuring. New point. 87.38. And 269.4432. Steep on me. Next point. This one's longer. Seems unlikely. That's what I did wrong. I'm not doing the line tool anymore. There we go. 118. And
Departure, Pilatus 409, Bravo Golf, direct GD at 3000.
409, Bravo Golf, Greensboro departure, ready to contact,
that's
maintain
all right.
12000.
16 Victor, contact Danville, approach 127.8.
748. There we go. Slowly going up.
Greensboro, good morning. Take Air 557 Alpha Papa. 13.1, descending 11 miles, way up Papa.
Air 557 Alpha Papa, Greensboro approach. Inbound to 3017.
Greensboro approach, Sky 90404 with request.
Greensboro approach. Good morning. Capacity
I don't know, man.
7, 6,000.
This is getting messy.
Good morning, fast flight 2287, Greensboro approach. Inbound to 3017.
3017, 2287.
Greensboro approach, Sky 90404, got you locked, clear now.
Roger. And I missed your last transmission. What were you saying?
Sky 90404 has a request.
483, turn right heading 230.
Right turn 230, bring that 34.
Server 4040 request.
Sky 90404 is requesting Papa by FR to Juliet, Quebec, Foxtrot, IFR,
Okay.
Quebec,
So now these corners stink.
Sky 90404, Roger, standby 1. Air 7 Alpha Papa, going to maintain 4,000. Skyhawk 90404, clear to the Concord Airport via direct Auntie, Papa Oscar, November Tango, India. Join the NASCAR for arrival. Maintain 6,000.
Clear to JQF direct via Ponte, join the NASCAR for arrival. Maintain 6,000, 404.
404, read back, correct. 9 Bravo Golf, contact Washington Center 124.05.
Okay.
Washington Center on 2405, November Bravo Golf.
Changing the fall off distance. Okay. It's a lot smoother. This is part look though. So that awkward bump. Here's no bump because it's the same height.
7 Alpha Papa, 20 degrees left, join final.
20 left, join the final, 7 degrees.
Guess I could have shortened this up to right there.
935, we have the weather and we'll take 5 left.
And it just sort of goes up a hill.
Good morning, 327.
Look at that.
13.3 to cross Henby 12,000.
I can do that.
Romeo X-ray, Greensboro approach, altimeter 3017.
Get rid of that strange bump.
10,000.
17 down to 10, 10,000, 67 X-ray.
KR 3483, turn left heading 140.
Left turn 140, we get 3483.
Let's try that. Okay, so this one.
For 327 Romeo X-ray, cleared direct to Ponte, resume the NASCAR 4 arrival.
Direct to Ponte, so
Shortened up to there.
Passion flight 2287, I have a couple of options for you to get around Charlotte airspace. Go direct Columbia at 4,000 or a slight left turn via direct Pekin, then Columbia at 6,000.
Alright, Passion flight 2287, standby.
So now Papa contact approach 124.35. 124.35. Yeah.
How to get these taxiways flatter. That's all we're trying to do.
Approach, hello, 557 Apple Papa, 5.7. 5.7 says that's 4,000. Heading 320 to intercept the line.
Bridge 3483, 6 miles from the final approach, big turn left heading 080.
I'm talking like flat left to right here, not and front to back, I guess, too. Make it a more gradual slope and not so bumpy.
November 557 Alpha Papa, Greensboro approach, roger.
I mean, this does it. This does the trick, that's for sure, but man, it's tough to do. Am I gonna have to do this for every single taxiway? Maybe so.
Regard 3483, contact tower.
Tower, Brigade 3483, good day.
Approach Compassion flight 2287, will appreciate the route adjustment to Pekin.
0.32.
Clear direct Pekin, Papa Echo Kilo, November, November. Then direct Columbia, maintain 6,000.
So it's gonna need it.
Right, direct Pekin, direct Columbia, maintain 6,000, Compassion 2287.
Maintain 7,000.
7,000, Yamaha 5935.
Yamaha 5935, turn left direct Jevons.
Left direct Jevons, Yamaha 5935.
Contact approach 24.35.
2435, good day, Yamaha 5935. First round 5935, 8,000 and 7,000 direct Jevons.
Lima 5935, Greensboro approach, roger. Trying to maintain 4,000.
4,000, Yamaha 5935.
Romeo X-ray, descend and maintain 6,000.
Maintain 6,000, actually.
How do I want to do this?
Papa Roger, and your status on the localizer?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Roger, 15 miles from Reno, cleared ILS runway 33 approach. Bravo 367 Romeo X-ray, descend and maintain 6,000.
Remember down to 6,000, makes me just small first.
I couldn't remember, I thought I gave it to you, but wanted to make sure.
You did, sorry, it just took us a little bit to get slow.
Okay, there's a distance there. We're getting up to 882. 887. Alright, I'm just really kind of juggling a couple things here. Alright, so get the profile editor back. I want to add one more point to this.
Citation 560 Papa Sierra, leveling 11,000 with Alpha.
Citation 560 Papa Sierra, Greensboro approach, altimeter
Go
3016.
178.
Expect the ILS approach runway 5 left.
2.
And 560 Papa Sierra, understand 5 left, request the GPS 5 right.
November 560 Papa Sierra, Roger. Expect the RNAV
There we
5
go.
right.
RNAV 5
Okay.
right.
So what I did,
November 557 Alpha Papa, contact tower 1
I put in slope here. This is all very, very flat. I'm gonna do a
Mile 5935, 12 miles from Jevon, cross Jevon at
Little-
3000, cleared ILS, 5 left approach.
I'll make it up 273 by there. It happens like right up. That's like the point, right? This is perfect. Slope is really nice. Yeah, the question is what do I do in these corners? The corners are sloping down. So slope down here, which is not surprising because there's no coverage there. I want to fix that.
One Alpha November, contact Atlanta Center 15.1.
So polygon that right there and right there. That kind of smooths that out. I'll likely have to do the same here and here. Otherwise it should be alright. Show profile for this.
November 44 Echo Echo, Greensboro approach, altimeter 3016.
016.
whole section here where it's kind of flat. That'll make things a little less awkward.
That was 2-1 contact approach 124.35. 124.35. Elvis 2-1.
Wait a minute, why didn't that work?
Approach Elvis 2-1.
2-1 Greensboro approach, roger. November 560 Papa Sierra 10 miles from Costas, cross Costas at 3000, cleared RNAV runway 5 right approach.
Cross Costas at 3000, cleared for the RNAV 5 right. 0 Papa Sierra.
Alright, and now we fly away. Come back. Should have a nice flat table right up here. Yep. So coming down here to here, there's not really a bump.
2287 contact, Stanville approach 127.8.
Oh, there is a bump. Why is there a bump?
1278, Horizon 2287 today.
Okay. So now we need to select this one. Figure out why there's a bump. Alright, so last point 4, we're gonna say it's horizontal. That's not horizontal. Gentle. And this one after is horizontal.
101 Greensboro
Oh, no.
approach, altimeter 3016, expect the ILS approach runway 33.
3016 will expect the ILS, Raptor 101.
Okay. Taxiing, 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 taxiing. Up this hill. Up this hill. On the hill. Fall off. Fall off point right there. See the hump. Big hump here. And there. And there. Okay. It's like a gap.
November 560 Papa Sierra, contact tower 119.1, good day.
191, Papa Sierra.
Trying to be getting it relatively flat.
Raptor 101, going to maintain 3000, turn right heading 110, vector for the ILS 23.
3000
Wondering now if it's helpful if I just widen this out to the whole thing. Because there's some definite contour in this part of it here. This whole channel here. It's ever so slightly lower, but it's getting flattened anyway.
Golf, Greensboro approach. Would you like runway 5 right short and a 5 left? Greensboro 3016. 3016 would like 5 right, 0 Golf. 0 Golf, with the RNAV and runway 5 right. Alright,
Chapter 101, thank you. Is that overcast, sir?
Broken, Raptor 101.
Okay. Let's try that. So let me go ahead and make the fall off for this 45.
Chapter 101, turn left,
Should
heading
smooth
100.
out this taper a little bit. Maybe that one.
Golf, and maintain 7,000.
7,000, 0 Golf.
Wish there was just different fall off distances on the different sides here.
4 Echo Echo, contact Greensboro approach 12616.
The left fall off, front fall off, the back fall off, all different. That would be nice.
For 101, turn left, heading 070.
070, Raptor 101.
Approach 44 Echo, Echo, I'm 5. Number 44 Echo Echo, Greensboro approach, Greensboro altimeter 3016.
Alright, now we got polygon. Add. Here. here, 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 there.
Greensboro approach.com 631, 15,000 across block 12,000, we have Alpha. .com 631, Greensboro approach, Greensboro altimeter 3016, would you like runway 5 right short or 5 left? 5 right would be great, .com 631. .com 631, expect RNAV approach runway 5 right short. We'll expect that, .com 631.
Okay. Try this.
1015 miles from Reno, turn left heading
Here's
360, maintain at above
881. Is that what it was said? Measure this.
360, 2000, still established, clear for the approach.
First point. 2697.
Raptor 101, 2500, Delta.
2500, still established, Raptor 101.
Norman 0 Sierra Golf, turn left heading 290, vector CT. Level 290, 0 Sierra Golf.
Terraform.
Sorry, left 290, 0. November 0 Sierra Golf, left heading 290.
Now, there we go. Alright, it's flat, yay.
31, still maintain 900,000.
Down here it might slope just a tad. Same thing with over here, it falls off just a little.
.com 631, amend altitude, maintain 10,000. 10,000, .com 631.
Nobody's keeping track. Alright.
Raptor 101, contact tower 123.75, okay.
2375, we'll use the Raptor 101.
Alpha 21, contact Roanoke approach 126.9.
126.9, Melbourne, 214.
.com 631, turn left direct center.
Alright.
Left direct center.
I can live with that.
631.
So this comes this way, it's flat, 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 flat. Until this intersection. Which way? We've got slopey slopes, which we gotta fix. This one goes down, 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 down until it hits this ramp. And it's nice and level.
Golf turn right heading at 320. Right 320, 0 Golf.
Greensboro departure 2236 Papa, climbing 1700, happy retirement.
7,02435, a great one. .com 612. See ya.
Appreciate that.
No problem. VFR climb approved. 36 Papa. And we thank you for all that you do for us.
Happy to do it.
Greensboro approach.com 631, 9,677.
Why is it just rolling off over here now?
And I'm sorry, I was on the line last phone taken.
.com 631 9,300 descending 7,000.
.com 6331 Greensboro approach. Roger, altimeter 3016, descend and maintain 4,000.
No, 4,000 3016.com 6031.
This is just going to be a little awkward here, but I think this part right here is still more or less good. Yep.
Direct spinner 00 go.
Should all more or less flat here. Looks good. It's that way. This will all be flat because it's all one big flattened piece. Get the runway tuned in here eventually.
November 0, Sierra Golf, contact approach 124.35. 124.357.
Okay, next. Rectangle. Add.
7,000 direct spinner.
CBM 900 Sierra Golf, Greensboro approach, descend and maintain 4,000.
4,000 Sierra Golf.
.com 6031, descend and maintain 3,000.
3,000 601. Greensboro approach, Diamond 517 Bravo Lima is with you level at 6,000. I'm in 157 Bravo Lima, Greensboro approach, Greensboro altimeter 3016, safe approach request to Mid Carolina and verify you have the weather. 3016, I'm working on the weather and tentative lead looking for the RNAV runway 2517 Bravo Lima. Alright, cross center 3000 cleared RNAV by right approach.com.
Papa, if I haven't told you already, you can resume on navigation, correct?
Alright, resuming on navigation, correct, there is 36 Papa. Diamond 7 Bravo Lima, is this a full stop? Affirmative, full stop, 517 Bravo Lima. 7 Bravo Lima, Roger. Icon 6 Ryan, field of sight.
Icon 6031, Roger, cleared visual approach, runway 5, right short.
Active approach 5 right short, clouds right around 3,600. Take a fire apart, SDK. Station 90 Kilo Mike, Greensboro departure, squawk 5110, Greensboro altimeter 3016. Airport 10 and 3016, 90 Kilo Mike.
.com 6031, contact tower 119.1, good day.
Have a great one, .com 61. Zero Kilo Mike, radar contact 4 miles north of Burlington Airport, clear to CCB to Cap Airport.
I can't.
What's your course setting to Austin? On course to Austin.
I don't know.
250.
Why is it doing this?
Yeah, about 250, and we're past 7,500. Zero Kilo Mike, Roger. Flight level 28010 minutes after. Correction intended. Alright, we'll expect that. Kilo Mike.
Over 2236, Papa radar service terminated. Squawk VFR, frequency change approved. Good day.
And 2236 Papa, we'd actually like to stay with UFA, but we're going to turn right back around and request an ILS approach if we can.
2236 Papa, no problem. Just let me know when you're ready to come back.
Roger, we'll let you know, 36 Papa.
CBN 0 Golf, 5 miles to Spiner, cross Spiner at 3,000, cleared RNAV runway 5 right approach.
Atlanta Center 128.8, good day.
188, Kilo Mike.
Good day.
5 approach, 5 right, 0 0. And 2236 Papa is ready to come back to the island, 5 left at 36 Papa.
2236 Papa, roger, turn left, heading 210, back to the islet, 5 left.
210 for 5 left, 36 Papa, thank you.
I can't work with this. Possible.
Roger, CBN 000 Golf, airport.
CBN 0 Golf, cleared, visual approach, runway 5 right short, please contact tower 19.
I mean, my only other recourse is to make it a runway.
0 5 right, oh, with the tower, 0 0 Golf.
Forget it. It's a miracle I was able to get this far, I guess. Alright, calling it a day. We were able to get there a little bit part of the way. It's just gonna be a struggle.
Greensboro approach. Good afternoon. Medevac 512 with Fox information Bravo. We're 5 miles west of the Rocky.
Nice and flat up to there.
Southbound. Transition to your left Charlie. Greensboro approach.
I'd leave this one. Oh, not that far yet.
Contact Washington Center
Up to there, we're good.
125 like this. 4-4. Clear direct pull in. Medevac 285 is rocking 0144 and 3016 on those.
Medevac 512 Whiskey Foxtrot, radar contact 18 miles north of Greensboro, 2,500, maintain VFR.
Medevac 512 Whiskey Fox.
Alright, guys. I gotta get going.
36 Pop, turn left heading 200.
We got a little bit of work done.
Left
I've,
200.
if it wasn't for the thing, the rectangle just creeping away on me every time, we might have gotten a little further, but right now we got the FedEx ramp, height changed, some taxiway, flattening, lots more work to do. And so, work continues. Thanks for following along. And, oh, flying away again. We'll see y'all later. Have a good one. All right, I'm coming.